Are you excited to fix the CORS error? I know you are excited. Let's try to do the same in this lecture. First, I'll show you the demo of approach 1 or option 1. On top of the controller, I'm going to mention cross origin annotation. To this annotation, I'll pass the input using origins. These origins can accept list of origins as well. You can use curly brace, but in our scenario, since we have a single origin to allow, I'm trying to provide the same, but here the port number should be 5173. Once this change is completed, let me do the build and restart my application. Once the application is restarted, this time let's see the magic. I'm going to clear all this console and refresh this page. Boom! You will be able to see there are no error and we are getting all our product details. The images are not being displayed right now. Don't worry, we'll try to fix this issue. I'm not sure why they are not displaying. I'll fix this issue in few minutes. For now, let's focus on fixing CORS. With a simple change on the back end, we're able to allow the communication between these two applications. Now let's explore the option 2 that we have discussed. I'm going to comment this annotation followed by I'll try to create a new package with the name config. Under this easy store package, let me type config followed by I'll try to create a new Java class with the name CORS config. On top of this class, I'm going to mention configuration annotation, and inside this class, I'm going to create a new method which is going to return CORS filter as an output. The name of the method, I'm going to keep it as CORS filter only. This method is not going to accept anything as an input parameter. After creating the method, I'm going to mention @bin annotation on top of this method. Now first let me create the CORS configuration object. Using this config object, I'm going to make some configurations. Here I'm trying to invoke set allowed origins, set allowed methods, and set allowed headers, and set allowed credentials method. To these methods, I'm trying to pass the domain name that I want to accept the communication. Here I'm trying to pass a single domain, but if you have multiple domains, you can mention all of them by using comma as a separator. Since I'm looking to allow all type of HTTP methods communication, I have mentioned asterisk here. And I'm going to allow only content type header, the same I have mentioned here, and you know what is the purpose of set allowed credentials. Towards the end, I need to create the object of URL based CORS configuration. Using the object of this class, I need to invoke the registered CORS configuration, and to this method, first parameter we need to pass what is the pattern of our API paths followed by CORS configuration object. The same I'm trying to pass here. And towards the end, I'm going to create the CORS filter object and return the same as an output from this method. I'm getting an error at CORS filter. Let me try to import the correct filter. You need to make sure you are importing the filter from the package org.springframework.web.filter. Once this is completed, we can do a build and restart the application. Let me test the UI application this time again, and this time also, as you can see, I'm not getting any CORS error. I'm getting the product details, but for some reason the image details are not getting displayed. Let me understand what is the problem. After doing some research, I identified a couple of issues with the code that we have developed so far. The very first issue is whatever products data that we have created with the help of this data.sql, you'll be able to see here the URL path is invalid. Under the assets folder, we have a subfolder with the name heroes followed by image name. But inside my React UI application, under assets folder, I have a subfolder with the name stickers. So this should not be heroes, this should be stickers. But even if I try to correct this issue, it is still not going to work, because if I send this relative path of my images, the React library, it is always going to look for the images under the public folder. But as of now, we are maintaining all the images under the assets folder. With the previous setup that we have under the data product.js, if you see, each of the product image details we are importing, and the reference of those image details we are trying to pass here inside the product data. Since this is all happening inside this React project, the React library can identify these paths, though they are relative paths. But if the same paths information is coming from the backend, the React library will always look inside the public folder by default. In case if you want your React UI application to look into the assets folder, we need to make some good amount of unnecessary changes. I want to avoid those unnecessary changes. That's why to resolve this problem, what I'll do is I'll try to copy this entire stickers subfolder into the public folder. You can see now under my public, there is a stickers folder. Inside the scripts, now what I can do is I can replace these assets/heroes with a new path. Let me search for this prefix, followed by I'm going to replace with stickers. I don't have to mention public. Anyway, by default, the React application is going to look for the images inside the public folder only. So let me replace this prefix with a new prefix, followed by I'm going to delete all the existing records from the products table. Let me double click on this products, which is going to show me all the records. Here I will try to select all these records and select this delete rows option. This is going to delete all these rows. To commit this transaction, I need to press on the submit button, and that is going to delete all the records. If you are not using IntelliJ Ultimate, please go to the H2 console inside the browser and run the delete command to delete all the existing rows. Followed by, I can go to the data.sql and try to execute all these queries by right-clicking and selecting the option execute. So here there is an execute option. The shortcut is command enter. When you press that, it is going to ask you what is the schema that you want to execute your scripts. Let me select this default schema, and with that, all the records they are going to be inserted into my database. I can also validate by double clicking on this products table. As you can see, all the records are created with the correct path. Let me refresh this page, and this time you will be able to see all the images are loaded perfectly without any issues. Hooray! This is a huge achievement, at least according to me, because we discussed all the required concepts to establish a communication between a React component and the Spring Boot project. This is the initial baby step that we have completed. Using this foundation concept, we're going to build a good amount of REST APIs throughout this course, and we'll be happily invoking all those REST APIs from the UI application. Let me delete all the images that I have under the assets folder. I'm going to click on these stickers and select delete, which is going to delete all the images. We no more need this product.js as well. Let me delete the same, followed by I'm also going to delete the data folder, which is empty folder. We have written some basic code inside our home.jsx, but we can further optimize this by having some try blocks and catch blocks to handle error scenarios as well. Let's try to do the same in the next lecture.